Welcome to the Meet Crete podcast, where we sit down and talk with people who make Crete run every day. Hi, I'm Dave, one of the creative producers in the communications department at Crete, and today we're going to talk to somebody who works with drivers every day about being their own boss. And this is one of the most interesting parts of trucking, I think. And I think most people on the outside of the industry probably believe this is the way that it's done. But Michael Kant, welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. When people talk to, truck drivers, I think they assume they own the cab all the time, but they don't necessarily do that.
No, not at all. It's a unique situation, especially the kind of way we were set up at Crete with most of our force being company drivers, but we do have around 300 owner operators now who own their own trucks and lease that equipment on to Crete to haul our freight. It can be confusing to a lot of people, even people in the office. When I first started, I spent 10 years in operations, but the first couple of years when I would hear the word owner operator, I didn't even know what that meant. We were dispatching trucks, keeping them moving, and then we get a guy who's like, well, I'm an owner operator. And it took a minute to fully understand exactly what was going on in those situations.
Right. Real quickly, your job title is?
I'm the fleet manager for the owner operator department.
So you work with these guys every day?
Yes.
When somebody's an owner operator, it's a weird dichotomy because you are working for yourself. You drive your success and your failure, for that matter. Mm-hmm. But you're also driving for Crete at the same time. So you have the benefits of being a company driver to some degree, but you also have the benefits of being your own boss.
Yeah, it can really work out. We have a lot of owners who've been with us for a long time for that exact reason. They like the support they get from Crete. They also like their freedom as being an owner operator, owning their own equipment. They can take more time off and, just more liberties on how to set their schedule. We still need them to haul freight, pick it up, deliver on time, but they do have more freedom in other aspects than say company drivers do.
You mentioned before you spent 10 years in operations. You've been here for how long?
21 years.
21 years,
yeah.
2 decades. And how long have you been working with owner operators?
So about 11 years now. So 10 years in operations, doing a variety of different jobs, and now 11 years with the owner department.
Fantastic. You're from Nebraska, but not necessarily around here, but close enough that you're familiar with Lincoln in the area, right? You're from York?
Yeah, I grew up in York, just about 45 minutes down the interstate. I've been to Lincoln a lot, been around my whole life.
And so just being right off the interstate there, I'm sure you saw Crete trucks growing up and
Yep.
Schaefer. And
it was pretty big news when the Petro truck stop opened up. I think I was in high school when the Petro opened up out there, and that was one of the first big truck stops in the area, even off I-80 at that time.
How did you get to Crete in the first place? Out of college or?
Yeah, out of college. I went to UNL, went through that whole thing. I graduated, spent about 6 to 8 months just doing my job I had during college, just so I could have a little time to travel and whatnot. And then it was time to start looking for a full-time job. And I had a friend who worked here at Crete, and he liked it, so applied, and here I am 21 years later.
Wow. You've been here a couple decades. Yeah, I'm sure you've talked to enough people. There are a lot of people that are referred by somebody that worked here already, aren't there?
Yeah, it just, it's kind of the way that works a lot now. And it wasn't even the situation where he could get me a job. I just knew he worked here and he liked it. I just had
that's enough, right?
I just had a basic business degree, and it's like, well, why not? Let's give it a try. And you start any job when you're 22, 23 years old. I'm saying, well, I'll work here for a few years, then I'm gonna go join up with some friends in Phoenix or Vegas. And you get about 2-3 years in, I'm like, well, I kind of like this, and I've always been told don't take a good job for granted. And so I'm happy and I'm here.
Well, that's great. I know I've seen you in the hall, and we've never talked before. I mean, other than, hey, how's it going, whatever. But I knew that you had been here a while, but I didn't know that you'd spent a decade over in fleets over there.
Yeah, it goes fast. It doesn't feel like it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just, and I think that's a testament to, we stay busy here, which is good. helps days go. I'm always doing something different, and then really the people I work with it makes it fun. So it's fun coming to work.
It's fun going over to where you work and talking to the people over there in fleets, and everybody's always so cool when you go over there, and you're always laughing to some degree.
Yeah, we got great chemistry over there. I work close to Isaac and Derek, and I've known those guys for a long time, even when they were in operations, and it's just a good group we have, and we have a good time. It's like exactly what the sign says, work hard, play hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about working with owner operators. What attracted you to doing that type of work, and what's the good part about it? What makes you come in every day?
Well, the situation kind of presented itself. I'd been in operations for about 10 years, and I was looking to see there's so many different avenues and departments and different forms of the job here at Crete. And a job opening did open up with the owner operator team, and I started looking into it and thought I could be a good fit there. And it's just another whole side of trucking with working with these owners, because essentially they're business partners. They're not employees. So you get to find that middle ground between, what, Crete's needs and their needs as a business. And I like, finding that balance.
Well, helping these guys succeed must be fairly rewarding too.
Yeah. And I always tell they're doing all the hard work. They're out there putting in the 70-hour work weeks. I'm just here, like myself, Isaac, and Jenny, who are in the owner department. We're here just to help them as much as we can. We are here to help them succeed. But it's up to them, and they do well. Like we give them the miles, but they put in the time. They drive safe and take care of their equipment. It's just a good fit.
I've thought of this before. I don't know that this is necessarily true. Do you think owner operators are safer drivers than company drivers because they own the rig?
Yeah.
Or does the safety numbers don't bear that out? I don't know.
Safety numbers, I wouldn't say necessarily, they wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they're safer than company drivers or company drivers are safer than them, especially at Crete, where safety is the pinnacle of, of our priorities.
Exactly.
Owners are held to the exact same safety standards and policies as company drivers. So I wouldn't say there's really any difference there.
If somebody is a company driver and they've heard, stories about owner operators, or they like the concept of being my own boss and driving my own rig to the places I pick to go pick up, what steps do they take? How do they get started in that process?
And we get a lot of calls like that. Really the first step, I always talk to them about as well, what's your motivation for making this change? Because it is a big change, I talk to a lot, and some are fully ready for that, and some are like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's kind of what I'm here for, to help them, give them as much information as possible before they start, before they make this transition. But really the first process is, call us on the owner team if they want to, either buy a truck or even buy a truck outside of Crete, go to a dealership and buy a truck. Call us, we'll talk, see what you're looking to get out of this as being an owner and what Crete can help support, and what they're looking for. But yeah, a lot of it does just start with, are you looking to buy a truck from us, or do you want to go to a dealership and maybe get, a Peterbilt or something like that?
What is it that drivers don't take into consideration when they call you and say, hey, I'm going to be an owner operator, and then you say, well, have you thought of this? And they go, oh, I didn't think of that.
One that comes up a lot is the cost of insurance. As an independent contractor, they can still get Crete's group rate, but Crete can't kick in on their monthly premium like we do for employees and company drivers. And I didn't realize it till I came over. Insurance is expensive.
Oh, very.
And that's what a lot, especially, if they have a spouse and dependents, it can be almost as much as a truck payment. And that can be a deciding factor for a lot. And it's fair. It's a fair thing to take into consideration. And it also shows a lot of guys just how much Crete is helping out on that end as employees.
Sure. And then you're responsible for your own fuel.
Yep.
You're responsible for maintenance to a certain degree.
Yeah.
What other things do they have to take into consideration that they're going to be responsible that you wouldn't be as a company driver?
Like you said, you mentioned fuel. That's an owner's biggest cost. every year. Just like
I would imagine.
Crete, fuel is our biggest cost. So it's the same for a one truck owner operator. Fuel is their biggest cost. A lot of them don't. They know it, but they don't really think about the numbers until you start laying them out in front of them. But really, fuel, the full responsibility of maintaining your truck. You can get work done at our shops, but you don't have to. You get it done wherever you want. But really, we're not sending you your reminders to get in for service. You have to stay on top of the service requirements. Another big one is taxes. As a owner, we don't take any taxes out of their settlements. So they have to remember on those settlements that come home, you got to save some of that to pay for your taxes at the end of the year.
So it's more money. It's a little bit more responsibility. And then you're paying for more things. But I mean, the owner operators that I have talked to, they're really happy they did it. I talked to a guy a month ago who used to be an owner operator, went somewhere else, came back, was a company driver, and he really wants to get back into being an owner operator again. They really do like the aspect that they set everything themselves.
Yeah, and when we do, people are always looking for maybe a potential, the next big thing, or maybe what they think is a better opportunity. And we do see some owners leave, and we get a good number of them. They do come back. Now that could be several factors, rates, or we've had guys go to the oil fields and oil fields slow down and they come back. Mm-hmm. I think it's a testament to, we're one of the first places they always call if they are looking to come back to make another job change. I liked Crete. I liked all the support you guys give me. You make it easy.
So you're more than just work. You got to be raising a family here.
Yep. I got my wife, Lindsay, been married for almost 15 years. My daughter, Anna's 13, and my son, Miles, is about to turn 11, and we got a small dog named Charlie.
There you go. Yeah. And I would imagine a lot of time, if you got near teenage kids, then it's a lot of sports stuff and running around. And
yeah, we're pretty busy. I help coach my son's basketball team.
Oh no, you didn't do that, did you? I did that for years.
A couple nights a week and games every weekend.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's fun. Got to keep everybody busy. Activities are very important.
Absolutely. So it's been a blast learning more about owner operators versus company drivers, and I probably should know more, but thanks for explaining that. Again, if somebody is watching this and they think they want to be an owner operator, they just call the Lincoln Terminal, right? And talk to you or Isaac. And
call the Lincoln Terminal. And really just your dispatcher too. Really, if there's any company drivers listen, dispatcher, just ask for the owner operator department. And that's myself, Isaac Phillips, and Jenny Bonilla. Any of us can help you out. Just general questions or ways to get started. The financing that we do offer internally for selling our trucks. But just ask for the owner operator department. And whoever you get will get you over to us.
Good. I just want to make that clear because I didn't follow up with that. But one thing I do know about you is that when you come to work, it's all about work, that you're really interested in doing quality work and then getting it done right.
Yeah, we got, they're out there doing all the driving, putting in those hours, and there's a lot of stuff they depend on me and on the owner operator department for. So it's, when I have things to do and calls are coming in and guys, a lot of them are waiting on me to get back to them to help them move on to their next issue or situation. It's always kind of a stepping ladder for those guys and some problems, and some of them can't move on to the next phase until we get back to them and let them know what the situation is. So,
and that's teamwork, right? So
it's teamwork, and it's time is money for everybody, but especially for an owner operator. So getting back to them as soon as you can. Sometimes I like to get back faster, but things at work happen. But they're waiting on us to help them out with situations. So it's all about getting back to them as soon as I can.
Well, I'm sure all those O&O guys are glad that you're on their side, and we're glad that you're here. And thanks for coming in today and sitting down and talking with us.
No, I appreciate it. It was fun.
It was fun. Thank you, Michael Kant. Remember, you can find all of our weekly updates, driver stories, and more episodes of this podcast on the Crete Carrier YouTube channel. We'll be back to find out more about the people we work with inside a Crete Carrier and Schaefer Trucking in the next episode of Meet Crete.